my life is split in thirds. It's a third of music, a third of poetry, and a third of radio. So with music, I write music for media, for like production music, trailer music, video games, bit of film, bit of TV. Well, I say TV, but not in the same way that you do TV. And then I do a bit of performance poetry, which there's a lot of crossover with music because I perform spoken word, but then I also collaborate musically with spoken word artists. When you do it for like a short film or a piece of theater, it's like, okay, it's going to be 5 minutes of this specific audio and that's it. Whereas doing it for a game, it's like, this sound may be triggered when this happens, and it has to tie in with this sound that may be triggered when that happens. And there's all these other sounds that you have to think about that have to tie in with this whole landscape. So I present Game Show on ABC Classic, which is an hour dedicated to video game music.
I think, congratulations. I mean, that's so fantastic. But I also think it's great, great nuggets of advice for anyone who's actually trying to make it, if you like, in these kind of very abstract careers. And I feel like, you've said a lot of really cool things there that people can maybe latch onto. In fact, just the fact that you kind of put stuff out there to like an invisible audience, as you said, not really thinking that it might go anywhere, but eventually over time you build up a portfolio of experience and work and skills that then eventually down the track, someone latches onto that and says, hold on a second, you've been doing this for a couple of years already. Okay, it might be in your bedroom and there might have been no audience, but hey, you've got those skills now. Do you think that's a legitimate piece of advice to give a budding young composer or possibly radio wannabe as advice for throwing those hooks out and then kind of just seeing what catches and building your portfolio slowly? Is that a fair assumption from what your experiences have been?
In a way, yes. There's always the trouble that you can never provide someone with a guaranteed path.
Exactly.
Because before I studied music, I was studying pharmacy, which is a whole other story.
Wow. I did not know that. That is incredible. You've had like 2 lives. Probably many more.
No, but I wanted to become a musician. Even when I was studying pharmacy, I will be a musician. The pharmacy is just a stop on the way, which didn't even happen at the end. But the idea is, with a career like pharmacy or medicine, or the traditional careers our parents tell us, are legitimate or more legitimate than the arts, in terms of there's a very clear career path. There's you graduate, you get a license to become a doctor or a pharmacist, and then that's kind of what gets you the job. And there's a few avenues of placements. There's work experience that can then transition into jobs. So it's a very clear path. The trouble with saying that for art is that I can't ever guarantee someone will do something and that's going to lead to a career. However, I just say that at the beginning because it's always an interesting part of these conversations. What I have found is, in the arts and in a lot of other areas, this is kind of a weird analogy, but this is kind of the analogy that keeps coming to my head. If you are looking for a relationship or a hookup, and you go out to the places where you can meet people you can hook up with, you could very much put on a personality and charm someone into the hookup. If you're looking for a relationship, though, the charm alone won't cut it, because your dedication and your hard work then into the rest of the relationship, the years that you're hoping to get out of this relationship, are a completely different beast. Because if you imagine the example of Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother and the countless other people who are only interested in one-night stands, they might put on a persona or, be outgoing in a sense that goes, cool, I can get in bed with you. And then once it comes down to the work, and I say this from personal experience because I'm like from personal experience with music, not with, not with the hookups.
This is not going to come with an R rating.
Well, right now I'm lead composing and sound designing for a game by Dragon Bear Studios called Chaos Tavern. Leverage your other skills, but yes, Chaos Tavern. It's pretty exciting game. It's the way it's been described during Melbourne Games Week when people have seen it at PAX has been kind of like Overcooked, the game Overcooked, but it's set in the land of Australian fantasy, like medieval times of Australian fantasy, in a land that was never colonized, or in a world that was never colonized. And the musicians I have on the soundtrack working with me are some brilliant First Nations musicians. And I'm learning a lot more. It's not necessarily about let us create indigenous music. It's no, let indigenous musicians come through with their own musicality and then kind of shape it and mold it for the world of the game. All with respect to the culture from which they are coming to this process from, and that we are creating together collaboratively in the world of this.
How do you kind of balance the 3/3 of your life? You know, you've got your composing career, you've got your radio career, you've got your poetry career. Do you find that at any one time you're kind of evenly spreading your load, or as you said before, sometimes maybe it's full on game writing, everything else takes a back seat for a couple of months, and then kind of working it like this? Or
some days I am balancing it very poorly. I will very readily admit that. Some days I feel like I'm on top of the world. I'm in control of everything, and then others I'm like, what have I done? I don't know that I would have it any other way.
You kind of like the chaos. Is that a pun?
Here's the funny part. Oh my God, here's the funny part is as I'm playtesting this game, part of the thing is the game itself has you serving customers while there's monsters coming in that you either have to fight or feed. And then there's cat burglars trying to steal your money. So you're trying to do your work while putting out fires, basically. And I just called up the developer. I'm like, why did you make a game based on a freelancer's life? Like, because you'll have some clients who are, really happy because they're getting served really quickly, and then some clients are still waiting because they've all arrived at the same time. And then as you try to, and they don't care that you've got fires to put out in your own life. But no, absolutely. But I find that interacting with your voice or a real instrument, for me personally, can really unleash something. Because if you start with a nugget of something, whether that ends up in the final product or not, is irrelevant. But the idea is you've gotten the process started somehow, can be brilliant. And then recording stuff on it, like even just recording something rhythmic like this. I do stuff like that, and then I process the crap out of it, and it doesn't sound like the instruments anymore. But at least it's this texture that's entirely mine.
So especially if you're working on a game or a TV show where you've got that visual element and you've been so focused on, that one head turn or whatever that hit point might be that you're trying to kind of work towards, and then,
Absolutely. And it's because you're working on things repeatedly, you kind of listen back to it, and it's not as exciting the second time or the third time or the 15th time that you've heard this same chord progression. But you forget that ultimately when someone's going to listen to it, they're hearing that for the first time. So that simple thing you were doing that actually you nailed it the first time, you've now overcomplicated it because you've gotten bored of it.
Nice balance. How do we listen to you on the radio? What's your hour? How do we tune in?
Friday 3 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard / Daylight Savings Time. ABC Classic, which is different frequencies in different states. Friday 3 p.m. And 3 to 4, and then you'll hear me kind of welcome you into the world of video games. Say, here's the context of these soundtracks, and go enjoy it.
And where can people find information about you as the composer and the creative and the poet?
I have a website which sorely needs updating. Don't tell anyone. MeenaShamaly.com. So MeenaShamaly.com.
We'll put a link to it down below.
Beautiful. I'm on Facebook.
You're a Composerfy member as well. So
I'm a Composerfy member. Yes. You can also find me. Also on abc.net.au/programs/classic/program/game show. Or just look up ABC Classic Game Show. You'll find me.
Well, thank you so much, Meena. It's been a pleasure chatting to you.
Thank you.
All the best with the game that you're working on, and finding that continual balance between the three amazing things in your life. And 3 o'clock this afternoon, I'll be listening into ABC Classics Game Music Hour with the man. And I'll see you inside Composerfy.
Beautiful. I am looking forward to it. Thank you for having me. It's been my absolute pleasure.
It's been so nice. Have a great day, Meena. I'll catch you soon.
You too.
Right. Bye-bye.
Ciao.